Okay, we're back for round two. I know that you guys really liked the last bacon build I did, so we're back with another one in a whole new setting. I know I keep talking about my new apartment and everything. You guys will get a tour eventually. Like I said, I have a lot to talk about. If you guys saw my previous videos, then you guys will know that I have a lot to talk about. So today we're going to be building Kirby. And so just a little bit of backstory on this one. I actually already have this one, but you can see something's wrong with this. It's missing a whole foot. And so today we're gonna be rebuilding this and we're gonna make it perfect and have a foot on my Kirby. And so I'm excited to build this one. Last time I did Legos, this time I'm going to be doing these, like a model of Kirby that they usually have at the game stores that are in this area, like Video Game Heaven, like some of the local shops have these buildable ones and they have a whole bunch of different types. I've done this before, but I'm gonna be doing on camera this time for you guys because I have not done this yet. And so I'm excited to build this Kirby, but of course, this is a bake and build, so I can't do this sober. I have to be, you already know, in the clouds. And so that's basically what we're gonna be doing today. If you guys saw my other video, which I recorded earlier, but that one should be coming out first. If not, then go watch that. But I'm going to be doing my edibles that I just bought because I renewed my dispensary certification, whatever. And so tonight, I think I'm gonna get a little bit wild and take two. Last time I only took one gummy, but today I'm gonna be taking two gummies. And so they're 10 milligrams each, I think, which is, it said it was like 100 in a pack and it was 10 per pack. Just like last time, we're gonna be taking it now. I'm gonna record obviously this before, then I'm gonna go shower and get everything settled before I go ahead and lock in on this building. And so if you guys can see by the title, the theme for today that we're gonna be talking about, last time was emotions, this time is gonna be talking about all the bad, terrible roommate experiences I've had in my lifetime because I'm currently going through it now, but that will come at a later time. But I'm gonna be talking about my previous stories with my terrible roommates. Not all of my roommates have been bad, but 9 times out of 10, they've all been bad. And so I'm gonna give you guys all the tea on that because I don't think I've even talked about it on my channel. Since I don't really want to edit this too much, I'm not gonna be putting any receipts or proof. So I guess just so nobody gets offended or whatever, or feels the need to out themselves as one of my roommates, then this is all alleged. This is my recap in my head. So like I said, I'm not gonna be showing any proof because I don't feel like editing. So just take this with a grain of salt, but let's get into it. So this is a strawberry flavored gummy. Don't mind my hands, don't mind my nails, but I also make my own edibles. So if you guys live in the Virginia area, let me know. Today I'm just gonna do the easier route and go ahead and eat the gummies that I got from the dispensaries. That's number one. Number two, I'll see you guys in 30 minutes to an hour so we can finally get started. I'm ready to be high. Hopefully this doesn't make me too high. I've never taken 2 at a time. Usually I'll take like 1.5 at most, but I think your girl, her tolerance has gone up a bit, so I think I can take it. So let's see. Okay, it is the next day / morning. Last night I took that edible and I was just like, you wanna lay down. Hopefully this doesn't make me too high. You wanna watch TV. But I think your girl,
her tolerance has gone up a bit.
I think I can take it, so let's see. So that's exactly what I did. I feel like I couldn't also get like my words right. Like I felt like I was kind of just like, dang, it's hard telling a story. I'm kind of just like, I want to just lay down and not talk. And so when I was recording, because I recorded a little bit, and I was just like, I'm not feeling this. And so I just smoked, so I'm back to feeling a little bit, you know, but not fully, not like an edible high. And so I'm gonna get back into it and try to see if this is a better time. So this is what I've gotten done so far. Just Kirby's face. We're gonna get started from there. I didn't get that far. It was also hard to multitask. I was just like, oh girl, this is too much to handle. You overestimated your abilities. Let's get back into this story time. So my first roommate besides my sister was in freshman year of college. I was in a triple. So it was me, my sister, and the roommate. And I'm not gonna give all the details and all like the, I don't know, too many details just because this is just short story times just combined into one video. One of the times where it was kind of just like a little bit like, what kind of household were you raised in, was when my sister put in the chat, who keeps doing this, and then sent a picture of a pad underneath a bath mat. And so that, I don't know if like who tells their kid to do that, but especially when they're sharing the place with other people. But I just thought that was so odd to see. Basically, I was like, yeah, it was definitely not me, but I had seen it. I didn't like really examine what it was, but I was kind of just like,
what the heck is that? Like,
why is there something wrapped up in toilet paper underneath the bath mat? But I was like, you know what, Angel, like don't even try to look into it or you're gonna gross yourself out. Which was kind of just like, okay, maybe not the right choice, but anyway. So she basically ended up saying in the chat,
oh, I'm sorry, it was me. I didn't want to put it in the trash, so I just put it there.
I'm just kind of like, that's kind of weird. That's a strange reaction to your period rather than the trash. I think that's a weird jump. I'm kind of just like, that doesn't really make sense to me. And you know, you're sharing the space with strangers. I don't know what you do with family, but this is like you're living with two people you don't know. And so I'm kind of just like, that's weird. And so another problem I had was we're in a dorm. So yeah, we had a bathroom connected to it, but it was still a small dorm because there's 3 girls in there. And then it has like the furniture that comes in there, and then you have to also bring your own stuff. And so, and there's also desk and tables and things like that. And so she would constantly have her boyfriend and her friends running in and out of the dorm, like coming through, because our door didn't really lock, so you could just open it up and just walk in. So her friends would just be knocking on the door, even when she was asleep, and be like, oh, is she here? And I'm just trying to get out the door to go to class. And so that was a problem. And so another thing is that we kind of compromised because I was expressed this to them. I'm like, I can't even change from showering because I don't change in the bathroom after I've already showered. Like, that's not really my thing. And so we kind of all compromised that after I get off of work, that there'll be no like guests besides like women. Cause I didn't mind if they're like, I was like, as long as your woman guests are fine with seeing me change, that's cool with me. And so we all agreed that no men in the room after I got off of work, so 7 o'clock, because I got off of work every day at the same time. The guests kept coming in and out, but this time only girls at the 7 o'clock time and stuff. But every time they would come around, they kind of gave me weird vibes. Like, you know, like when people are definitely talking about you, that's how it felt. And so I'm just like, I feel like there's some type of like, I don't know, like animosity or something, because I feel like I'm being talked about every time I'm in here showering and stuff. And like I said, I don't change in the bathroom because it's all steamy, stuff is all wet, can't really dry off, so you're putting on your clothes on a wet body. That's just weird. Okay, one of the days tensions felt like really high. Like I feel like, okay, I'm definitely like, something's definitely going on. I go and change because when I'm changing, it's completely silent. Her friends are over this day and it's completely silent. And so I'm like, okay. But then when I go to the bathroom, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep the door cracked because I feel like they're waiting for me to leave so they can talk about me in my own room. And so I'm just like, okay. So I closed the door, but I kept it cracked and I listened. And then they just start like going off, like start laughing like,
oh my gosh, why she feels so comfortable to change in front of us? Like we're guests and we don't want to see all that and blah, blah, blah.
Mind you, it's not like I would just be walking around topless. I would bend down so that I could change, but they would never see anything, but they would know that I was changing. But I'm just like, you guys constantly come inside the room. I don't know what hours you guys are gonna be in here. Like I said, sometimes it'll be like 12 o'clock a.m. Sometimes it'll be 1 o'clock a.m. and they would be coming through. And I'm just like,
damn, like, you guys have a dorm in this building.
Go to their room. But I guess because we had the triple and it wasn't a smaller, like 2 roommate, like room, I guess they wanted to come here because it was just like, dang, oh shit, I'm already done building it? Okay, I guess it's just turned into a full-on story time. Also, look how different these look. Oh my gosh, I don't know what happened to the coloring of this one. Thank God I bought a new one because what the heck? This one looks like it's just been through it. And this one is just like,
I'm a newborn. I'm new to this world. I'm fresh and clean, just freshly built.
oh shit, oh my God. Okay, y'all don't mind that, He's fine. Now I can have my full attention on this. So, like I was saying, back to the story time. After I hear them talking about me, like when I'm in like the bathroom, I'm just like,
oh heck no, you cannot be in my dorm disrespecting me for changing in my dorm.
Especially when my roommate and me already agreed about the time that I was gonna be showering. So tell your guests to not come if they feel uncomfortable, but if they would consistently and constantly come in when I'm about to shower, knowing that I shower at this time. At least my roommate knew, but she should have relayed that to her friends. That's how I felt like. And so basically I go and I shower and I'm just like,
Okay, bet. I'm gonna confront her since she doesn't want to talk to me like a good roommate would. I'm gonna go ahead and talk to her then.
because I'm just like, hey, you're just letting your guests talk shit knowing that we had agreed upon time. Okay, bet. So I shower, I go back, I change. Once again, once I walk out the bathroom, it's completely silent again. So I'm just like, why are you guys being scary like that? And so I'm like, okay, bet. Get showered, change, get dressed, all that. And so I'm in bed and I'm just like, okay, Angel, calm down. These girls have you mad, but don't like get too much out of character. Basically, I pressed record on my phone because I was like, I don't want anything to be used against me. This is 3 people against 1 person. It was my roommate and her 2 friends. And so I'm like, okay. And also, I didn't like dislike every one of her friends that came over because there are some that came over that were really cool and we would sit and chat. It was just 2 girls that seemed like they kind of had a problem with me for no reason. I didn't even know these people. I pressed record on my phone and I'm just like,
So-and-so.
I say her name. And so I'm just like,
Why are you letting your guests be in here disrespecting me knowing that we agreed upon a time that I was gonna shower, and if they're uncomfortable with it, then they can leave?
and so she was just like,
I know we had agreed upon time, but we just think it's rude that you still shower when guests are over, and we don't know if they're gonna feel comfortable, and blah, blah, blah.
And I said, well, you knew the time that I get changed and I shower and all of that stuff. And so I'm consistently and constantly doing my part of the agreement, and you still have your guests over. If they don't like it, they can leave, they can wait. It doesn't even take a long time for me to change. It'll take 10 minutes max. And they live in this dorm. And so they can't be coming in and out of here because then I don't even know when I can shower in peace and change in peace.
they started getting offended and they were just like, well, we're guests. I'm just like, this is a dorm. We're not hosting guests. What are you talking about? And so then they started like bringing up personal stuff about me. They were just like, oh, that's why you and your sister aren't close. And I'm just like, I literally said,
What does that have to do with anything?
And they're just like, yeah, but still, and blah, blah, blah. Like,
I guess trying to hurt my feelings now. And so I'm just like, stay on the task at hand. Don't try to bring it into other stuff. I know my family situation. I know my personal business. You don't need to like care about my life. Worry about your own life. And so anyway, the RA of my building, she shared a wall, like my side of the wall. So I guess she was starting to hear the yelling through those thick brick walls. And if you guys go to Norfolk State, you know how like in like the freshman dorms, I feel like they're pretty like big bricks and they're just ugly. She comes over, she comes knocking. She's just like,
yo, what's going on?
we basically explained what's going on. I explained first. And so she was just like, okay. And so she gets on the phone with like the head RA, RL or whatever. And she was just like,
Okay, so she's in the wrong? Okay, all right.
and then she was just like, okay, they need to leave. Basically, she told her, if your guests have a problem with her changing and with me, Angel, changing in my room, then it's on them to leave. It's not on me to put like, to get dressed in the bathroom or be forced into there or leave my room to change or get dressed. And so they're just like, they can step out. Especially if you guys already put this on the roommate agreement and you guys already talked about it, about like changing times and stuff like that, then, and you signed and you agreed to it, then that's it. And she was kind of just like sitting there like this, kind of just like, okay. And kind of like to go in like a private room and say all this. But I was just like, yeah, I just really didn't like how you knew that we agreed to something and then you let you and your guests talk shit about me behind my back. And so I didn't like that. And so they basically said that she was in the wrong. And so she basically pretty much had to like pretty much agree to the same thing all over again, but in front of like the RAs. And so that was kind of weird. And so yeah, that was roommate number 1, and that was in freshman year. The next roommate we're gonna talk about is in sophomore year. Sometimes I kind of feel like, okay, I don't even know if I should keep this in here, but I'm like, am I the problem? Like, why do I keep running into bad roommates? But then when I tell the story to people, they're just like, oh girl, like, you're not wrong. This next roommate was so weird. Oh, like kind of like made my like skin crawl kind of weird. It was kind of just like, girl, like, I kind of feel like if I rub you the wrong way, you're gonna like murder me. Anyway. Maybe I'm being dramatic, but she was just very off. And so we already started like texting before we actually moved in with each other, because that's what I did with my last roommate. Like we kind of like messaged before, and she basically starts talking about how before me, she already had another roommate assigned to her. And I'm kind of just like, well, we haven't even moved in yet. So you had another roommate assigned to you? She was just like, yeah, but then she requested to not be my roommate anymore because we were having issues. And she didn't really explain what the issues were. I was kind of just like, how are you having issues with your roommate who you've never met and you guys have not even moved in with each other yet? So I'm kind of just like, that's kind of weird. And so you guys already switched. You're on your second roommate and we haven't even moved in. And so I'm kind of just like, oh, okay, like that's fine. And so it's time for move-in day. I move in all my stuff and she kind of just seems kind of awkward. And I'm kind of like, okay, being awkward is not a bad thing because sometimes I'm awkward. So that's not like a deal breaker or that's not what made her weird, but she was very awkward. After we're fully moved in, I started noticing that I don't know what happened with her other roommates, like from freshman year or whatever with that other girl, but she would like lock up all of her stuff. And I'm kind of like, okay, you don't know me, that's fine. But also it was kind of like, I don't know if she thought I was gonna steal because I'm the one that had like a job and a car and was making money. And she was just living off of what she could, or if her like mom sent her money or whatever. That was something that she told me, like she only worked like a few times, but she doesn't really work like that. And she just kind of just is in college. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. But then she would act like I was gonna steal her stuff. And so she would like look at me kind of like that, like behind, because I'm on the bed over there. She would kind of like look and then like put in the key and unlock it and then like look back at me like that and then grab it and then look back again. Like it was constantly like looking back at me to see if I'm watching what she's doing. And I'm not, I'm focusing on my stuff. But then obviously if she's on this side of me, I'm seeing it in my peripheral vision. I'm kind of just like, okay, I'm seeing you do it, even though I'm like doing my thing. I'm seeing you like constantly look back at me. And so I'm like, I think that's weird. Just to fast forward and stuff. So I was in a new building. It was literally, we call it new res, like new residential. And so a new building, and I guess the keys were not working or the locks were not working. And so we were constantly being locked out of our dorm because our keys, it was a tap with our card. It just wasn't working. They basically recommended to us as maintenance was going through to keep the door cracked. And she basically was just like not complying to that. And so every time I would have to go to the RAs downstairs to the RAs so they can go up and let me in. And so she basically gave the excuse like,
oh, I don't really feel like having the door cracked. I don't feel safe with it like that because I saw that my last roommate, the one that I didn't get to move in with, I saw her in the hallway and I didn't want her to see me go into my room and try to break it.
And I'm just like, what? Wait, okay, you just said it was kind of just like you guys weren't really compatible or whatever, and now you think that she's gonna break into the room? Like, I'm kind of just like, what happened? Especially if you're saying you've never met this girl, you've never met her, it was only through online contact, but now you're worried that she's gonna find you and break into the room and steal our stuff? Okay, that's a little odd to me. And so I'm just kind of like, all right, well, I still need the door cracked because I'm working to 9, 10, 12 p.m. sometimes, or 12 a.m. sometimes. Like, it really just depends because I was a nanny at the time. And so I'm just, sometimes it's late night, sometimes it's date night and stuff like that. Okay, rapper. Anyway, and if you're asleep and I can't find an RA, then I'll be locked out of the room. Like, you can't lock me out of the room like that. So she was just like,
oh, just text me when you get off of work and I'll let you in.
But then sometimes she wouldn't be there. We were trying to fix the problem with like, can we get this door fixed? Can we get the door fixed? But like, and she was taking a long time. And so what was the like, really like the last straw for me? One of the times she locked the door again, she closed it shut completely. She also was not there. And so I had to go downstairs to the RA's desk. And then I was just like, hey, can you guys let me in? And the RA basically started, I didn't like this girl because she had an attitude from the jump. But she basically threatened me with a fine for like losing my key or being locked out or whatever. And I was just like, but the situation, and also my roommate's doing this. She was like,
still, it's gonna be you. You're gonna be the one making the fine.
Because she was being lazy. And so I was just like, I was pissed about that because now I'm getting threatened with fines. Even if it's my roommate that's locking me out, I'm still gonna collect fines. So I was pissed. And so I basically texted her. I said,
stop locking me out of the dorm.
I don't care about what you have going on with that other girl. I can't afford to be keep being locked out because every time I try to come back from my classes, the door will be locked. From work, the door will be locked. Just being at the cafe or something, the door will be locked. And I'm just like, you're the only one that's being let in. And so here is where I need to introduce new characters. So on the first day that we were moving in, I found out that there was twins that were going to be my suite mates. So basically how the dorms are set up is you have you and your roommate, and you have a bathroom that you share with 2 other people on the other side. And so those are your suite mates. And so I found out there was twins over there that were gonna be my suite mates. And I'm a twin. And so I basically introduced myself. I'm just like, yeah, hey, blah, blah, blah. So I was a twin as well. And they're just like, oh, okay, why didn't you do it with her? I basically was honest. I was like, no, we're not really that close. And they were just like, oh, okay. And so they're kind of like, why? And I'm just like, there's differences. But I'm kind of just like, ask about my business, go watch my YouTube channel. That's a joke, that's a joke. And so I'm just like, oh, okay. like, it's nice to meet y'all, blah, blah, blah. And so it kind of like seemed like they didn't like low-key like me though. I tried to introduce myself and be like, hey, I'm your sweet mate. And they kind of just seemed like they didn't really, was kind of just like, I'm not fucking with you. When all this is happening, it seems like why my other roommate, my actual roommate, not my sweet mate, my actual roommate, it seemed like she was able to get into the dorm fine and not ever have to deal with going to the RAs at all, because she was contacting the twins to let her in. And so she would just meet up with them to for her to be let in. Okay, when I found out that she was asking them to let her in, I was like, okay, I'll do the same thing. And so there was one time where I was locked out and I was walking back to the RA's desk, and I'm just like, I see them, the twins, the sweet mates, down the hall walking towards the dorm. And so I'm just like, oh, are you guys about to head back to the dorm? And they immediately had an attitude. I was like, whoa, what did I do? And so they're just like, yeah. And I was just like, oh, can you let me in? So let me out. And they kind of just didn't say anything. And so I started walking with them, and I'm kind of like, oh, okay, this is kind of awkward. And so they open up their door, and they just had a complete attitude with me. And I'm kind of just like, what's wrong with them? Like we only had one other conversation. And so I walk in, and all is cool, fine, and dandy. Oh, so after I told my roommate about to stop locking me out, I don't care about like the situation with your last roommate, she basically like stopped responding after that. She was basically just like,
okay, like I understand what you're saying and stuff, but I'm pretty much still scared that like my stuff is gonna be robbed or whatever.
And I said, you don't understand that because you don't have a job. You're just on campus all the time. And so she pretty much stopped responding. Next thing I know, she is gone for like, I think like a day or a night or something. And then her and her mom come in the dorm the next day. And the mom is just like eyeing me down, staring me down, kind of just like looking at me like this.
Like I did something to her daughter when her daughter was doing something to me.
Oh, God. I'm in distress, bruh. So I was kind of just like, why do you have your mom in here giving me a stare down over this small problem? The problem is you keep locking me out. She was kind of just like, used her mom, like it seemed like for protection.
Mama, like come in here and intimidate her.
Or some shit like that. Awkward, what the fuck? Basically the mom is kind of just like, oh, okay. And like she was like, started looking at my stuff, like looking at my room.
She was just like, oh, okay, I just want to make sure nobody's messing with my daughter.
Or something like that. And I'm like, nobody's trying to mess with your fucking daughter, bro. Your daughter is weird. Cause this whole time I have to emphasize how much she would just be so awkward. Like she would get from showering and then look back at me, like kind of like that. And it was always like a stiff move. It wasn't just like a look back like that. It was like a, and then look back at you, or then look back and then get dressed and then look back again. It was just like, it was just so weird to me. I was kind of just like, why does she keep doing that? And every time she would move, she would just kind of just be like looking at me like, and I could see it, like I said, in my peripheral. I'm like, this girl is weird. So next thing I know, I'm in my room on the phone, and then she texts me just like, hey, me and my roommate are coming in to grab my stuff. And I'm like, me and my roommate? I'm your roommate. But I was kind of just like, oh, okay, I guess she's leaving. And so she basically walked in with like one of the baskets that you can move all your stuff in. Her roommate is opening up the door, and she starts grabbing her stuff, and her roommate's just like, this is all you needed me for? And she was just like,
yeah, I just didn't know what was gonna happen.
She was kind of just looked at me, and I looked at her, and she was just like, can I go? And she was like, oh, yeah, you can go. And I was kind of just like, you think I was gonna beat you up or something for not wanting to be my roommate? I feel like the only problem I had, besides that, I was very nice to this girl, besides locking me out. And so I was just kind of just like, okay, I don't know if you thought I was gonna beat you up or something, which is crazy to me. That's like, okay, I don't know why you thought you needed protection. So anyway, she moves out, and so that's roommate number 2. So this happens in the same year, same dorm. I get a new girl as my roommate. And so I'm just like, oh, okay. And so she was like either like a senior or like a super senior or something. Like I just knew that she was a senior and I was a sophomore. She was kind of just like, oh, finally got my housing. I'm a senior. I'm about to graduate or something like that. And so I was like, oh, okay, senior. Okay. And usually like you're paired up with somebody that's in like the same year as you. She was really nice at first, and we were both really nice to each other. Like I would share food, I would help her make up her bed and all these different things. But the problem is I was going through a lot in my life personally, and sometimes I would just like be busy with my own stuff in my own life or having really personal conversations. And so this gets brought up later. And so I was like crying, and I was on the phone with my boyfriend at the time crying about the situation now I was in and stuff. And she walks in. Like later on, she says that she says hi to me, but I didn't hear her say hi. So she walks in, and I say on the phone, because I was having a personal conversation, I'm just like,
Oh, I'll call you back later. My roommate just walked in.
and I hung up the phone. And so I guess she took that like as a lot of offense. And I didn't realize at the time. It was brought up to me later on. And so after that, I'm all crying and stuff and trying to like wipe my tears and everything, because I'm just like, it's awkward to be crying around with your roommate in the room. And so I can kind of just feel again that those twins, my suite mates, did not like me. And it seemed like now they were in cahoots with my new roommate. And I don't know, I sound paranoid, but that's how I was feeling. Like, I was just like, they were weird from the start, and I feel like they were recruiting other people to be weird with them.
Basically, I was just like, hey, can we come up with a cleaning schedule for the bathroom? Like, I'm seeing like they're leaving like, you know, like the soap that comes in boxes, like the Dove soap. They would leave the box in the shower, and the pieces of the box started falling on the floor and stuff. And I would just be like, hey, can y'all pick this up? Like, I'm having a problem with some of the stuff being dirty in the bathroom. My roommate was kind of just like, oh, did you talk to the twins about cleaning the bathroom? And I kind of just thought like the twins, like that, like I kind of feel like y'all are low-key close, and it kind of like the way she like phrased the sentence, I'm not getting it exactly right, it kind of implied that her and the twins separately have been having conversations. And I was just like, yeah, I put something in the chat and nobody really replied. She was just like, oh, okay. Because like nobody replied when I put that inside the chat, the group chat that we had. And so then they ended up, after I had a conversation with her about it, basically that's when they replied, I guess after she relayed some type of message to them. And so they were just like, yeah, we can clean and blah, blah, blah. And they kind of seemed like they had even more of an attitude after I asked to do a cleaning schedule because they were leaving stuff in the shower.
And so just to make it long story short, there was one time where they were in the bathroom for a long time. So one twin went inside the bathroom, was in there for like 10-15 minutes, and I'm trying to get ready for work, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go in after her. But I guess that after she got out, she held the bathroom for her sister. So she gets out, washes her hands, and her sister immediately goes to the bathroom too. And I really have to pee, and I also have to really go to work, and so I'm just like, why are they like taking up so much time in the bathroom? They probably took up about like 30 minutes in the toilet. And so I'm just like, bruh, like I have to pee so bad. And so I was annoyed. And so I was on the phone, and I was just like,
Dang, those girls are blowing up the bathroom with their big asses.
because at this point, like they had already been rude to me multiple times, like I said, with like their cleaning schedule, the walking down the hallway and having an attitude when like my other roommate was locking me out. And so I was just like, yeah, they must be blowing up the bathroom with their big asses. And so I leave for work and I come back later that day. So like I said, I work pretty late. So it was like probably like 9 or 10. Then all of a sudden I hear knock, knock, knock. And I'm just like on the phone. I'm like, oh, wait, one second. Somebody's knocking on the door. And so I hang up the phone. And this whole time since I've walked in after coming back from work, I felt like my roommate had all eyes on me. She was just like kind of like looking at me, like wherever I would move, her head was tracking it. And I was noticing at the time, but I was kind of just like, I'm just coming back from work. I'm too tired. And so I go to the front, to the main door, and I open up the door, and I'm like, oh, okay, nobody's here. That must have been somebody else knocking on somebody else's door, because sometimes you can hear that in a dorm. So I'm like, oh, okay, so like, I guess I was hearing the knock wrong. And so I go back to my phone, and I'm like on my phone and stuff like that. And then I hear the knock again. And I'm kind of just like, okay. And mind you, my roommate has not gotten up to pick up, like to open the door at all. She's been sitting on the bed. She was home when I got there, and she has not tried to open up the door at all. And so I'm like, oh, is somebody knocking on the bathroom door? And so I open up the bathroom door, and it's the twins. And so they're just like,
So what were you saying earlier?
what are you talking about? Mind you, it's been hours since I said the sentence. This is what they were upset about. The sentence where I was like,
Dang, those girls are blowing up the bathroom with their big asses. The bathroom with their big asses. Big asses. Big asses.
anyway, but mind you, it's like 7 hours later. It's like 9-10 o'clock. And so I'm just like, what are you talking about? And they're just like,
What were you saying earlier? Oh, you think we took a long time in the bathroom?
and then so basically I'm just like kind of fast forward and give you guys the main stuff about it, because it kind of felt like long in the moment where I was kind of just like, what the fuck is going on? And so basically like my roommate finally gets up off the bed and was just like,
Yeah, what were you saying earlier, Angel? You were saying that calling them fat.
the context with them is
All three of the roommates, my roommate and the suite mates, they were all big and I was skinny. And so when they heard big asses, they thought I was talking about their weight, when I'm just like, I said that for anybody. I said that for me, and I don't even have a big ass. Anyway, they took it as I was calling them fat, and I was kind of just like, oh, okay.
and she was like, yeah, you don't remember that, Angel? I was like, oh yeah, I do. And they were like, okay, say it again. I said, you guys were blowing up the bathroom with your big asses. And they did not like that, because I guess like they didn't think that I was like gonna say it again. They were like, oh, say it again, say it again. I said it again, and they were kind of just like,
No, she didn't. No, she just said it again. She just said it again.
and I'm kind of just like you guys were in there for 30 minutes. I started defending my case now. I'm just like, you guys were in there for 30 minutes blowing up the bathroom. That's a long time to be in the bathroom, especially when you're sharing it and you're using it back to back to back. And you guys use up a lot of toilet paper too. My roommate was kind of just like,
You're like body shaming them.
and I'm just like, no, I'm just saying that. But I'm just kind of like, okay, bruh, y'all can believe what you want, but y'all can get out of my room now, especially disrespecting me. Like I said, the disrespect in my own room, I cannot handle. So I basically was just like, y'all can get out with that. Like, I don't care. Basically, they walk out of the room again because what can they say? That you're in my room. That's a problem. So they walk out and like they started like mumbling stuff, talking shit, and I said,
with your big ass.
and slammed the door shut. And I could just hear them in the bathroom going off again. They were like, oh no, she just said it again. And I'm just like, hey, I said what I said. I said what I said. I said what I said, and I said what I mean. So I'm kind of just like, I wasn't just saying that for shits and giggles. Well, yeah, I kind of was a little bit, but I'm also just like, it was also the truth. And so my roommate was just like, Angel, you know you're wrong for that. You know you're wrong for that. And she was just like you should have spoken to them about being in the bathroom. But I forgot to give this context. I did.
So when they were in the bathroom for those times, I knocked on the door and I was like, hey, are you almost done in there? And she was just like, oh yeah, I'm almost done. And so I was like, oh, okay. And so when it was like 10 more minutes later, I knocked again and there was no reply. But she was still in there. And I was kind of just like, hey, I'm about to go to work. Like, can you hurry up a little bit? Like, I have to pee before I get on the road. And then she was just like, okay. And I was like, oh, okay. And then when she walked out, it was a whole attitude, like slamming the door open. So I'm kind of just like, I did try to tell her that they were taking a long time. I said, hey, when you think you'll be finished up, I have to pee.
And so basically, I was hearing them be upset again. They came back into the room, and then they had their cousin on the iPad, and I'm just kind of like, cousin on the iPad? And the cousin's just like, that's why you're not close to your sister. Same thing that they did in the other dorm, my first roommate. And so I was kind of just like, what does that have to do with anything, bro? What are you talking about? And so I guess like they also revealed that sometimes they would like go and listen to the wall and listen to my phone conversations. Like they just started like trying to like spew shit at me, and I'm kind of just like, what? Wait, that's creepy. So I basically texted the RA and was like, hey, we have a problem, you need to get in here.
Fast forward, we go into a roommate mediation, and so the roommate, actually, let me go back. So basically, after the RAs come, they're trying to like calm things down, and they're just like, well, we don't like that you're body shaming. And I'm sorry, I feel like it's context, but all of them were big women, including the RA. So she was just like, I don't like the body shaming stuff. And I'm just like, I'm not freaking body shaming. Like, clearly y'all don't know how I talk. Like, I'm sorry, like, I'm not from here, so maybe y'all will say like, with your big ass, or at the end of like an insult or something. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna explain it, but maybe y'all just don't talk how I talk. And so I was kind of just like, man, I wasn't talking about their body weight, like how big they are. I don't care. Like, that's not my body. I'm just saying it. Just like, I don't know, but that's how people talk. I don't know how to explain it, but some people said they understand me, so I'm just like, maybe y'all will too. Basically, fast forward, we're doing a mediation, and so we get inside there, and I'm recording this as well, because I'm just like, I need to make sure that none of this shit is used against me, and like, or they try to switch up their words. So basically, I found out in the mediation that they told the RAs a whole nother story, and so when I told them my side of the story, they were kind of just like, oh, well, we didn't know that. And I was just like, yeah, of course you're not gonna tell like the parts that they did. And they were kind of just like, oh, okay, we understand. They're like, did you guys do that? And they kind of just like shrugged their shoulders and they kind of like smiled and was like, well, yeah, but. And so I was kind of just like, what the heck? And so the RA said that they understood me, but then they were just like, okay, fast forward, we're gonna put you in another dorm. And I was kind of just like, okay, that's fine. Mind you, this mediation's happened like on a Friday night at like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. And so they're just like,
okay, you have to move out
tonight.
And I'm just like, move out tonight? How am I gonna move out all my stuff tonight? It's a whole nother floor. I have a lot of stuff, and you're telling me I have to be out by 12 a.m., and that's 2 hours away.
I'm just like, yeah, you just need to be out.
Fuck you, NSU. Fuck you, RAs. And so that's roommate number 3.
So now we're moving on to roommates number 4, whatever. So this is the same year, and so now I'm just like, damn, I went to like thinking my other roommate was suspect for having 2 roommates before we even moved in, and I'm on my freaking 3rd roommate this semester. Damn. And so I'm just like, maybe I am the problem. I managed to move all of my stuff out into my new room, and I checked out the room and stuff, and I'm just like, I hate it here. I know I'm gonna hate it here. This is gonna suck. This is gonna suck hard. Because I walk into the bathroom, because it's the same dorm, so it's me, my roommate, and then I have suite mates. I move all my stuff in, and the bathroom is so disgusting.
I sometimes still have nightmares in that.
Because I'm just like, in horror, I'm just like, disgusting. But this floor that was once white was black and brown. It was so disgusting. The mats on the floor, you could tell haven't been washed in weeks, and they're just dirty. It's just hair and just so disgusting. Oh my God. And so the RAs didn't even check the room before they moved me in. The place was dirty. And so I'm just like, no freaking way. And so I stayed at a friend's place until I could manage to like wrap my head around the situation I was in, because I was just like, oh heck no, this sucks. I basically like get in contact with my roommate, because like when I moved in, my roommate wasn't there. So I had no means of communication. So I went back several times, she still wasn't there. So I just left a note on my bed. I said, hey, this is Angel, your new roommate. Here's my number, let's text. And so she texted me. And so that's why I was basically just like, hey, so when do you guys plan on cleaning? Like, can we set up a cleaning schedule? The same thing again. And then she just like, oh yeah, that's my bad, like I'll get to it. And she actually did. She went and cleaned it and it was a lot better. So it was kind of feeling like a little bit of a fresh start. And so I was kind of like, okay. And so we set up the roommate agreement, a cleaning schedule between all of us. So this last one's not really a roommate horror story. It's kind of just like the ending of me dealing with like college roommates, like in terms of being in a dorm. Basically, my new roommate, she was cool. I liked her. Like I was kind of just like, okay, like you're a cool person. But the roommates on the other side, they were seniors, like about to graduate soon, seniors. And so they didn't give a fuck. They were still dirty. It was enough for me to just be like,
Angel, I don't think that living in a college dorm is meant for you. And then that's when I got my apartment, and my apartment roommate was pretty cool too. There was some like a little bit of things where I was kind of just like, okay, we don't really match in that way. But overall, she's definitely not the worst, and it was just like pretty cool vibes. Lastly, I'll end it off with I'm actually going through probably like my worst roommate situation currently, and I can't even talk about it yet, but that's going to be something you guys have to stay tuned for. But it is the worst situation yet. Oh my gosh, y'all, like I said, stay tuned, because it's coming up to a wrap, I think. But I'm kind of just like, oh my gosh, this is the worst of the worst. Like, you don't realize how crazy people can be. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm glad that I was able to get this Kirby done. It was so easy, and I've been like procrastinating. I've had this for a while, and so now I can put it up, and I think I'm probably just gonna throw this one away. Like, there's no point of having it around. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social media platforms. And there's going to be big things coming up, so stay tuned. Thank you for sticking with me. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Deuces.